Welcome, welcome. Good morning, everybody, to the Daily Huddle Spiritual Matters Thursday here with your host, Dr. Monikah Ogando. And I am excited to be here with you today because we are moving along with our gratitude series. Last week, we talked about gratitude about beginnings. And this week, we are talking about gratitude about endings. About limbo. Did we talk about endings or beginnings the other day? Oh my gosh, where is my mind? We are going rewind. Last week we talked about endings, not beginnings. That's next week. This week we are talking about limbo. And limbo, if you don't know, has been defined as an uncertain period of waiting. Waiting for a decision, a resolution. It's an intermediate state or condition. Imagine you're running and neither foot is on the ground. That's limbo. So we're going to talk about gratitude, about those limbo moments this week. Welcome to your Daily Huddle. Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome again to your Daily Huddle Spiritual Matters Thursdays. Like I said, I'm your host, Dr. Monikah Ogando. We're talking about limbo today and all its many triggers and wisdoms and lessons and advantages even and disadvantages. So we're going to talk about all of that today. Rashida, how are you today? And who are you? What are you grateful for?
Good morning, Dr. Ogando. I am today. I am fine. I am blessed. And I'm driving to New York. Okay, I'm not driving. Peter is driving to New York.
Okay.
And what I'm grateful for, that's what you asked me? That's what I'm grateful for? Oh my goodness. I am so grateful for life itself, for consciousness, and for love.
Nice.
Lots of love. Thank you so much.
I love it. This is exciting. So I want to hear from all of you. What has been your experience with limbo, right? I think that there is a conversation around certainty and having a clear end, a clear beginning, a clear transition, etc. But that's usually not how life works. We spend, I would venture to say, 80% of our creation time in limbo, meaning things are not fully formed, or they are in transition of being formed, or it's cooked but halfway baked and it's not completely there, and there's still things to be handled and so forth. And so you kind of feel like you have neither foot on one room or another, one side of the fence or another. And it feels sometimes disconcerting. It feels sometimes incomplete. And I want us to chisel our relationship with being incomplete. In many traditions, particularly secular transformational trainings and traditions, we kind of look down on being incomplete. It's like, no, go handle that. Go get complete on that. Which has its place. Don't get me wrong. It has its place. And then there are times when, particularly with contemplative disciplines, we can see the wisdom and the value of being in the in-between place, of hanging on to the wisdom that discomfort can teach us, but we would have to hang in there long enough in order to be able to discern that wisdom. If we rush it, if we rush to completion, we might miss that blessing. And I'll give you an example of that. When my sister was giving birth to her second son, I missed the first son being born, even though my father and I were driving like a bat out of hell from Georgia to Florida to go be with them, but we missed the actual birth. And so this time I was like, I'm going to get there ahead of time. I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be part of the birthing team. I'm not going to miss this for the world. And when she started getting her contractions, we were like, okay, come on, let's go. It's 5 minutes apart and the bag is ready and let's drive over there, et cetera, et cetera. And it was like, hurry up and wait kind of situation. And while she was breathing through those contractions and, you know, just kind of like letting the process be the process, her husband at the time said, man, I can't wait to hold the baby in my arms. And she said, I've been holding him all this time, right? And so this is the part that got me, because when we are in that limbo space, we think nothing's happening. We think things are uncertain, things aren't really going on because we don't have a firm grasp on it. But there is a place, call it the womb of creation, just like my nephew was in her womb, even though the father was not able to hold him in his arms just yet. He had to be born first in order for him to hold him in his arms. But my sister didn't have to wait for him to be born in order to hold him. She could hold him in the creation process. And I just thought that was so brilliant. In part, in the way of creation, when you're creating, for example, a book, when you're creating your next signature offer in your business, when you're creating a vacation even with your family, there are certain things that you're holding in the womb of creation, be it your mind, be it your heart, be it your intention. There's things that you're holding there, and they are certain there. They may not be certain in the manifested out here world where everybody could see, but in your womb of creation, in your mind, in your vision, they are. And that's the part that Limbo gives us access to. That when you don't have that certainty in the outer world, you can create certainty in the inner world. And you can chisel your vision. You can give it more detail. You can give it more texture in your own mind before it ever becomes form in the outer world. So let's talk about it. Who here has a wrought relationship with Limbo? Like, I don't like it. Give me one or the other. I'm a pretty black and white kind of person. Don't mess with me, this Limbo situation. That is all sounds good. Put it on the postcard. I don't want it. Or maybe you are the kind of person who's like, you know, I've never thought about it that way. That actually sounds pretty fun. Or I didn't realize that I was living in limbo all this time and I was making myself wrong about it. What is your take on this? Where are you with Limbo? What's your relationship to Limbo?
Thank you so much, Dr. Ogando. I'm so grateful for the space that we can share on Thursday, because trust me, it's enriching my consciousness, it's enriching my spirituality, it's enriching so much.
Oh, sweet.
When I leave this car, I leave with a lot of nuggets in my bucket. And one thing I always have problem with people getting them straight. And yesterday I have a conversation with a girlfriend of mine. We have a neutral girlfriend, she and I. And I said, you know why Miss Smith is not speaking to you? She said, no, I don't know. I said, you know why? Because you are not fair. And when you're not fair to people, you're not fair to yourself. And when I say limbo, is that I put her in that spot and she didn't even understand. I said, listen, I want you to be straight with things that you do in life. And what it was the situation is that she know that this person did me wrong. And she went and introduced this person to this neutral girlfriend that we have, Miss Smith. And she said, oh, no, I did not introduce her to her. I said, listen, trust me, you need to stand up and really stand up and say, yes, I did wrong. And this is one of the things that I say that I approach people at all time when you do wrong, you do wrong. So my limbo is having people really resonate or really be conscious that they did wrong. So I don't know if it's I am pushy. I don't know if but I just do not like to see injustice. No injustice. So that's for me my conscious awareness of people doing wrong. And then on top of it, they still, oh no, I didn't do that. Excuse me, you did it.
Yeah.
So this is what I really puzzle myself with. That's my limbo. I want people to be honest and be straightforward of their mistake. Thank you so much, Dr. Ogando. Thank you.
Absolutely. So it sounds like what you were thinking about there was accountability, clarity.
Yes, but that's what I approach people and everyone, my kids. No, be honest with yourself, because when you go to bed, you're gonna be so clear how you telling the truth. So that's my concern of being people just telling lie. Why you want to tell lie? You have to tell one lie, you have to tell the next lie, and you have to continue telling lies. And it's for me, that's my what I would say is my niche or my glitch with dealing with people. That's what I would
Your little
say.
pet peeve.
Thank you. I like that how you say it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. I think so. Here's my philosophy about folks who are dishonest, and this might sound controversial to you, but it's the place where I've come to, partly accountability and partly compassion. And what I have discovered in my life is that people lie to protect themselves and their interests and their safety. So when my children have lied to me, it's usually been because they want to avoid getting in trouble. They want to avoid losing any level of approval or love from me. So they want to protect feeling loved. Or they don't feel safe enough to say their truth. I was very excited to talk to my daughter about college options, etc. Because I'm an academician, I'm nerdy, I got 11 degrees. But she was not interested. She wanted to go to the Navy. And she delayed having that conversation with me, even though I knew from the time that she was 3 years old that she wanted to go to the Navy, because she didn't want to feel like she was letting me down or going a place where she didn't want to go, or that wasn't meant for her, whatever. So she was questioning herself, but also she didn't feel safe enough to share her truth. And it is difficult sometimes to step aside from the lens of you offended me, you hurt me, you disappointed me by lying to me, as though you are owed the truth. I don't think we are owed the truth. However, when we are in relationship with someone, the best thing that we can do is create an environment where your truth is safe with me. Otherwise, you don't owe it to me. And yeah. And so that sounds amoral to some people. But what it has done for me as a counselor, as a coach, as a therapist, as a friend even, is that folks feel unjudged. And they feel, oh, I do have permission to say my truth. I don't have to go through these hoops. I'm not losing love by hiding anything. So it's safe to reveal. Florence, you have something to say?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I understand the feeling of limbo, but for me, I have impatience in limbo. Oh my God. Impatience in limbo.
Why are you impatient like that?
Yeah, because I just want it to happen. Like I can't,
but why?
like I just feel like, God, why is it taking so long?
Because it takes what it takes. How come you need it right now? I want to know. Let's explore this together.
Well, just because I feel like the fulfillment part of it is what I'm yearning for. And so I know, like, I feel, oh, I've created it already, or I know this is what I want. Why isn't it here? Or, or this situation, whatever it is, why is it taking so long? And I think the impatience part stops or blocks more creativity.
That's a
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, because so I try to work on just relaxing and letting it be. Letting it be, like, because as you said, you talked about the baby, and the baby would not come until the baby comes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When he's good and ready, especially him being an Aries, he's like, listen, I tell you when I'm going to come. You don't tell me when I come. Yes.
So I am leaning into less impatience and just letting it happen, but using that time and creating or enjoying the creating space, or just the act of creating. I'm leaning into that. So that I can enjoy the idea of creating, and let it happen when it happens. I'm leaning into that.
All right, it's a practice,
Yeah.
we're not naturally good at it. When we're little and we want food now, right? It's like, we don't care if it takes a minute to warm it up, we want it now, right? So I get it. Totally get it.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Florence. I appreciate you.
Yes.
Dan, welcome aboard. What you got to say, sir?
Well, Doc, first of all, can I be heard? Am I being heard?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Thank you for this. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm just thinking about that being lied to, that mastermind Rashida happened to allude to, because I can tend to have that pet peeve too, and most of us do, but it's really anchored in a problem that we have. It's anchored in a problem that we have. It's because we take it so personally, because we want to hold people so accountable. We just finished reading the 4 agreements. Let me read to you right here on this page what it says.
Okay.
Wherever you go, you will find people lying to you. And as your awareness grows, you will notice that you also lie to yourself.
Come on now.
Do not expect people to tell you the truth, because they also lie to themselves. You have to trust yourself and choose to believe or not believe what someone says to you. When we really see other people as they are without taking it personally, we can no longer be hurt by what they say or do. Even if others lie to you, it is okay. They are lying to you because they are afraid. They are afraid you will discover they are not perfect. It is painful to take that social mask off. If others say one thing but do another, you are lying to yourself if you don't listen to their actions. But if you are truthful with yourself, you will save yourself a lot of emotional pain. Telling yourself the truth about it may hurt, but you don't need to be attached to the pain.
Oh, I like your pastor voice and everything. I
love it. I didn't say it. Don Miguel Ruiz said it.
Yes. I know you were quoting the book. That was a perfect punctuation on the conversation. And of course, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for articulating it so beautifully from the book. I agree wholeheartedly. See, I wasn't even thinking about the 4 agreements. I was thinking, like, it's just now a part of my own philosophy. It's like, it's okay if you lie to me. It's okay. And I have a deal. See, maybe part of the reason why some of us have discomfort about limbo, or even beginnings and endings, is because we have not worked out our own position. We have not yet worked out our own internal certainty. Laura wants to know what page you're reading from, Stan. And this is what I mean. I have a deal with my own divine intelligence, with my own God of my own understanding. Listen, here's the deal. Here's the agreement that I will make with you. When you want me to know something, you are going to give it to me. I don't have to go looking for it. I don't have to ask questions. You are going to give it to me. You're going to give it to me in the way of a sign that I can really get, that is very obvious, or it's going to come as an internal knowing that nobody can argue with because it's my intuition. And what I promise is that when you give me that sign, when you give me that knowledge, I will listen to it. Because otherwise, you know, if you're talking to a friend and your friend ignores you, you're just going to stop talking, right? So I have that deal. And so that means I can walk into any room and you could be hiding all of the information. What I need to know, I will get it. And I don't need to wrest it from your tight little hands, right? It'll just come to me. Because I have that deal, I don't mind the uncertainty, right? And so when you also understand universal law, as above, so below, as within, so without, when you understand that, and you can start to see what's happening without, you can take an educated guess about what's happening within. And especially if it triggers you, then you know that that is part of your information. See, people out here are just lifing. Stan is just Stanning, Rashida is just Rashidaing, Monica's just Monikahing. You know, we're just living our lives, right? But in your consciousness, if something that someone does or says bothers you, that's your information. That's not for them to fix. That's not a behavior for them to change. That's for you to investigate about your own consciousness. Because they could have done the same exact thing in front of somebody else and it wouldn't have been a blip on the radar, but it's a blip on your radar. So that's for you to investigate, right? And so this is the part that I love about Limbo, is that it's actually, there's grace embedded in it. Florence talked earlier about the impatience. I was like, I just want to get to it. I already see the vision. Like, let's go, right? But there's grace embedded in Limbo. Can you imagine if every time you thought a thing, that thing immediately came true? Do you know how many people would die? Because there are some people that you have been murdering in the secret crevices of your mind and wishing poorly on and calling out their mama name and everybody else's name. If every time you thought a thought, it immediately came true, Lord have mercy, we would be in a world of hurt. Thank God for the waiting period. Thank God for Limbo. Sheesh. Stan, you were going to say something?
Yeah, just that, you know, I'm not trying to gloss this thing over like it's easy. It's real difficult not to take something personally. And especially when a person tells a lie on you and that lie affects you directly, right? But even Don Miguel Ruiz tells us that even then, it's because we've taken it so personally that we want to punish that person and get them back. And we want, human beings are the only people that pay for an incident or pay for an infraction over and over and over again 1,000 times in their lives. And we want to make sure that person lied to us, that punished us, right? We feel punishment. We want to make sure we hold them so accountable that they know they lied and so, because we want to punish them back. And we want to remind them over and over and over again, it is still us that is taking it personally. He goes so far as to say, even if somebody shoots you, don't take it personally. Right? We know that's hard.
Well, you know, got in through with me. I don't know about that one, but
yeah, right. We know that's hard. We know that's hard, and I get his point, though. I think you get it.
Yeah, so, and here's the thing about that, Stan. I love that you're bringing up this point, because it's okay to react emotionally to this. Yes. That's part of the game too. That's part of your feedback loop also. How would you know if there's something for you to work on unless you had an emotional reaction to it?
So true.
Now, if you could have an emotional reaction to something and not say or do anything, that could happen. You could be offended and angry and just be seething in your seat without saying a thing to anybody, right? You can still have your emotions. You can still have your reaction. It doesn't mean that you need to vomit on people. And here's the thing that I'm going to say about that. If you can like 80% of this process is stop making yourself wrong for where you are and start investigating why you are where you are. A lot of times we don't like the discomfort or the pain or the displeasure of wherever it is that we're standing or what we're seeing or the circumstance. So we move very quickly to change our behavior or to change our circumstance so that we no longer feel that discomfort or that pain. But there's some teaching in that pain and that discomfort. If you sit with it long enough, if you can actually approach that pain, that discomfort, that trigger, as though it is a faithful friend, then you wouldn't be in such a rush to kick it out of your existence. Then you'd be curious about what gifts they bring. Now, in my culture, in Latino Caribbean culture, when somebody invites you over to your house, you don't show up empty-handed. You don't just show up with like, here I am, let's go play some games. You show up with some food or a beverage or a game or something that they've been thinking about, or you run an errand for them and bring it home. You know, you have some dry cleaning I can pick up, whatever, something. You don't show up empty-handed. And because I grew up in that culture, I translated that expectation to even some unannounced friends. Like pain is often an unannounced friend. Disappointment, letdown, betrayal, right? Despair, sadness, anger. Sometimes they are unannounced. They're like, what are you here? Who invited you? And why are you here? Let me see what you got. What you bring? Right? And so now I'm curious. Now I'm curious about what this unannounced visitor came, because I know you brought something. In my culture, everybody that comes to my house brings something. So what'd you bring? And if you can be open and curious about that, then you would be soothed in that limbo moment, because then you can be with the gift of that moment and you don't need the certainty of a beginning or an ending in order for you to be where you are. Hala says, the Louise Hay book says you can heal your, in the Louise Hay book called You Can Heal Your Life, each emotion creates symptoms. And I'm going to say once again, each stagnant emotion creates symptoms, because we are designed to have emotions. It's not wrong to have emotions. That's part of living. That's part of being human. That's part of having a physical existence. So don't be so quick to be like, oh, well, then, you know, I'm not supposed to feel anger. I'm not supposed to feel sadness. I'm not supposed to feel these emotions are wrong. Nah, go ahead and feel your emotions. Let them pass through you. I think I told you guys the story about, you know, one time my nephew was having a temper tantrum and my father went into the toilet room. He was like, ¿Qué te pasa? Which we typically translate from Spanish to say what's wrong with you or what's the matter with you. But I really heard it in the literal sense of what is passing through you. And that's what happens with emotions. What is passing through you? Can you just let it pass through? Can you imagine if your faucet, when you open the faucet to give you some water, your faucet just like, hold on a second, let me just look at this. What? No, you let it pass through. That's your job. And so Florence says even fear can be of service, particularly fear. Absolutely. Fear is the most misunderstood of your friends. So,
but you do let it pass through. You don't hold on to it. Right.
So let me give you some practical steps, right? So what are some of the ways, like it sounds nice to be able to say, let it pass through, but what does that actually mean in practical behavioral terms? So here's some of the ways that you can let your emotions pass through. One, you can cry it out. If you don't want to be crying in public, which, you know, who cares, right? Everybody's in their own world, but go to your car or go to a private room, have a moment, go to the bathroom stall, whatever, have a crying moment, have a crying spell, go to a crying meditation in the shower. It's all water, it's all going down the drain anyway, right? So you can cry it out. You can punch it out. Go to the gym and do some boxing exercises. Go to your bedroom and hammer it out with the pillow. Sometimes you need that physical release, whether it's the crying or it's exercise, et cetera, right? You can journal it out. Write out your thoughts, write out even your poisonous thoughts, even your angry feelings, et cetera. And life hack, after you finish writing, you could just Take a lighter to it and just burn it and send it to the nothingness once it came. You can also scream it out. Laura says, scream it out. Absolutely. Take that pillow, instead of punching it, put it in your mouth and just go, just scream it out. You can ask for a hug. A lot of times, you know, we talk about the 5 love languages. A lot of times those 5 love languages are ways that you can soothe yourself. So if you have, for example, physical touch as a love language, ask somebody to give you a hug. That can be very soothing. If you have a physical a love language of acts of service, go do something for somebody else. If you have a love language of words of affirmation, stand in the mirror and tell yourself the things that you would want somebody to say to you to have you feeling better, to have you move through that emotion. Sometimes this is what speakers, professional speakers, I do this all the time when I'm about to go speak somewhere. Sometimes I'll take a moment to the bathroom and I look at myself in the mirror and be like, you got this. You know you got this, right? You've talked about this a million times. And these people are here for you to serve them. So and whatever it is that you have to say to pump yourself up, you can do that mirror work as well. And you can soothe yourself by saying, you know, it's okay for you to feel how you feel, just let it out. Whatever it is that you needed when you were a child and you maybe were not trained to handle your emotions appropriately, what would you have wanted mom or dad or whoever the caretaker was to tell you, to help you process those emotions when you were 4 or 5 or 6? Rashida, you have something to say?
My way to soothe myself is I go out in my backyard. I go to my backyard and hug my favorite tree. Sometimes I say, one of these days I'm going to hug this tree and you're going to say, let me go, let me go. So I hug my tree. Trust me. And it's so soothing. So
That's
soothing.
nice.
That's amazing.
That. Yes.
I like that.
Yes. That's lovely. Well, I'm just noticing the time. We're 2 minutes past the hour. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate you. Remember, of course, to love always, to laugh generously, eat more plant-based, stress less, sleep at least 7 hours a day, a night. Give of your time, your excellence, your efforts, your talent, etc. And of course, always audit your assumptions. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, as our beautiful friend Ice Cube used to say. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, everyone.
One love, guys. One love.
Thank you.